Hi, good afternoon. Here we go again. Another production by Nadia and Mohammed. Another era production. We call it era stories and era memories and whatnot. But here we go again. Thank you, Nadia, and thank you, Mohammed, for making this all possible and for lending the space at major models that we're sharing, or we're using their space to interview the famous Julie Anderson today. Julie was a supermodel, or is a supermodel, a writer, a jack of all trades, and she's really made herself use the business to make herself what she is today. I'm waiting for Julie, and let's see if we can get. Julie, where are you? Aha. Julie has joined. There you are, Julie.
Hey,
Oh
Joe.
my God. I hadn't seen you in so long, since we were in Texas together when we were doing those that charity, I Am Waters. And that was, in the early 2000s. I was asked to cast and to work with a bunch of models that were in New York and bring them down to Houston for Elena Davis, who's the next model. But that was the last time I saw you. That was a long time ago.
Wait a minute. Time ago. When was that? That was like
Early
2010. 2010.
2010, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what, 15 years ago? Joe, we
15
were
years.
growing up. Oh my
I
God.
know we're growing up. Oh my God. And I'm really grown up.
We all have to get there someday.
Now, Julie, tell me, where are you from?
I am from a small town in Florida named DeLand, Florida. What's really funny is a lot of people know this town. And growing up in that town, I was like, there's no way anybody will ever know where I'm coming from. Yeah, so it's very small. It's north of Orlando. Kind of, don't get started on the state of Florida, but yeah, that's where I'm from.
Now, how did you get started in the business?
Well, kind of a side note. I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness, so I never had any type of, let's say, any avenue to get into the world. That's what they called it, the world, being of the world versus being of the church. And so, I didn't have any social life. I didn't go on dates. I wasn't allowed to dress up or anything like that. But I had a friend in school who used to bring in fashion magazines. So in typing class, there we were looking at the fashion magazines. And I remember one day looking at one of these covers, and I looked at the model on it, and I thought, well, I'm kind of similar. Not necessarily in an arrogant way, but like, well, my nose is similar or my mouth is similar. And there was a model search. And I don't know how I did it, but I talked my parents into it and they brought me there. Now this, being a Jehovah's Witness, was major.
Right?
Yeah. And so I went to this model convention, and it was with elite models in Florida. And then I ended up going to that, what is that called? International Model Search thing. Were you there at that time? You must have been.
I believe so, at IMTA, I think it was.
Yeah. So I had my choice of agents. I ended up going to Chicago first because I was, I never really left my county. And that's where it all started.
How old were you then?
18.
18 years old.
Yeah.
A Jehovah's Witness. Well, that was a very unusual for you to get into this business.
Yeah. Oh yeah, bring it on.
So, 18, you get to New York. Did Ford see you? Did Eileen ever see you?
Did Eileen ever see me? Yes, she saw me once at the at some cocktail party. I forget which one it was. I forget what it was, but I remember I was in the restroom. And should I say what she told me?
Of course. Tell me.
She said, I was the biggest mistake Joey ever made. Ooh.
Me?
Yeah, you.
She didn't tell you that she has the final say. I may say, oh, I love Julie, but if she doesn't love you,
yeah,
it doesn't work. But I can't believe it. because I would have never have turned you down, Julie.
Aw,
Never.
never. Well, you're my best bud.
You know?
You fell in love when we were doing that I Am Water stuff.
That's right. I did fall in love with you then.
Aw.
And that was a rough patch in your life during
Yeah.
I Am Waters.
Yeah.
But you were terrific because you were so outspoken and you were able to express yourself and you weren't shy, which I loved about you. You know, you called a spade, and if you didn't like something, you let me know and you let everybody know. So, which to me is fabulous. To you, maybe you feel that, oh my God, I should have kept my mouth shut.
Yeah. And sometimes people will say that I'm intense, and I don't feel like I'm intense, but then I hear stories like that, and I think, oh, geez, that probably came off a little bit, you know, I don't know, a little bit brazen, you know. So.
Well, you were intense. I mean, I can understand that, and I don't see that as a detriment. I see it as a plus. Being intense because you love what you're doing,
Yeah.
and you've been doing it for a while. Now, let me ask you. So, you worked in New York and you worked in Paris, correct?
Yes.
Over the years, from what are we talking? The late '80s.
Late 80s till I think it was 2001, and then I was moved to Australia. Another story. Moved to Australia, and I lived there almost 10 years. So I worked well in Australia. I loved living there, by the way. And then went back to Europe, trotted around. I've lived everywhere, you know, as most of us did. We lived everywhere. I never, unfortunately for me, I never found one place that I could stay, you know, live for a long period of time, and because I was always very restless. But now here I am in New York, and I'm perfectly content. I don't have any desire to.
Let me ask you, when you made all these moves, was there a guy involved? That's why you'd want to go to Australia, why you'd want to stay in Paris, why you'd want to stay in all these different places. Am I correct?
Sometimes and sometimes not. Sometimes not. I mean, yeah, I had a boyfriend that I really adored, and I broke up with him because of something stupid he said, and I moved straight to Paris just, you know, the next day. So I had my moments, Joey.
You did.
Time it had to do with being married and, you know, having to keep the family together, which, you know, is obviously what people do, but in hindsight, maybe I could have done it, you know, made a better decision in a lot of ways.
Well, I think we could all have been better parents. I mean, our business sort of uh, wasn't the greatest business to bring kids up. I mean,
No.
we try to be as normal as possible, but we're not in a normal business. We're in a very different business. I mean, where could you at 18 years old make $100 an hour, $125 an hour? I mean, it was unheard of, unheard of.
Yeah, and that was those days. The days making 10 grand.
Well, I'm talking about when we started.
Yeah.
I'm talking about when you started.
Yeah.
You know, $125 an hour, $250 an hour. Of course, you know, you'd work a day for $5,000, and then you charge them another $10,000 to use the picture. You know, all the different types of media, and it piled up, and before you know it, the job that you did for one day, you're making $10,000 to $25,000 on it. You know, I mean, I'm talking as an agent now, but it was unheard of. And here, a girl from Florida, Jehovah's Witness, and all of a sudden you're making this kind of money. What did your family think?
Well, I mean, when I first started making a lot of money, throughout my career, I gave them everything. So if I made money, I would give them an experience. So like, for instance, like I went to, you remember Joe's Stone Crabs in Miami?
Oh, sure. You took them out there.
No, I sent them crabs to their house. So I would do crazy stuff like that, spend a small fortune just so they would get to live the same life. But it was unfortunate because I was disfellowshipped from the church. So there was quite a few years where my father mainly didn't speak to me. So I was treated as if I was dead, because that's the doctrine of the church. If you're not a part of the church, if you leave the church, then everybody you know, everything you know, that's it. You know, you're dead and buried.
Almost like Scientology.
Yeah.
Similar.
Yeah.
You know, my only encounter with Jehovah Witnesses, I had a house upstate in Putnam County for years and years and years, and it's like the hotbed of Jehovah Witnesses. I mean, there's a big uh, complex of houses where they live, and plus one of their huge churches, and I think they're the largest landowners in Putnam County in New York
Yeah.
State. It's very big up there. But that's my only encounter with them. So you come to New York, you're modeling. I make the biggest mistake of my life by not taking you on with Ford. And
Yeah.
Eileen says that, but, you
Yeah.
know, she always loved to blame me for everything, you know. I don't know how she was so successful blaming me for all my failures.
Aw. You know, she was just being a bit of a diva.
So, so you're here, you're working in Paris, and you've done a lot of other things. You know, you're not only a model, but you uh, became a writer, you became an entrepreneur, really. But let me ask you, do you feel that modeling opened up all these doors for you?
Oh, without a doubt. I will say, just to kind of touch on something from before, the Jehovah's Witnesses actually helped me in my career because I was one of those little kids knocking on the door. So it helped me bring myself out. So that is
Right, right.
where I am in the business. And I could use that, I guess, courage to face every single situation that we were in as models, you know, when you go and you meet new photographers and new clients and stuff like that. So yes, modeling did help me with all of that. And then fast forward to my, you know, my life and what I've done so far. Yeah, you have to have courage, and that's what modeling gives you. It gives you courage to, you know, do something new. I mean, if you can pick up and move and go to, you know, to Tokyo for a couple months and just live there, you got to have enough courage to start your own business. I bet, you know, it's kind of the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I found that out about a lot of models like that. Now, a lot of models weren't afraid to relocate to Italy, to Paris, to Australia, to all the different hubs where they could work and stay there for a while. You know, guys and girls,
Yeah.
they were adventurous, and they wanted to do other things, and they wanted to make as much money as they can modeling.
Yeah.
Modeling in those days really offered opportunities that we couldn't find anyplace else. I
No.
mean, by, when I was modeling, it opened the opportunity for me to become an agent
Yeah.
and a manager, and I did that for my whole life. I mean, if I didn't become a model, I would have never done that. God knows what I would have become, you know, but probably a 9 to 5 or someplace. But it gave me the opportunity to travel, which you've taken really advantage of it, of being able to live in different places where I didn't.
No.
I didn't take advantage of living in different places. Now, let me ask you, do you feel that there was any photographer or any job that you did that really catapulted you and put you in front of everybody, put your picture in front of every casting person and agent in the world?
Well, yeah, it's probably one of my first professional jobs was American Vogue. So literally they saw me on a Polaroid and flew me in. So I would say that put me on the map.
Wow, working for Vogue editorially.
Yeah. Like when I was 18. So like literally like it was like one Polaroid got me the job.
Hmm.
That,
And that was young, 18, to be in Vogue, too.
what?
That's very young to be in Vogue at 18.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
but in those days, you know, we used to start models off at 15, 16, you know,
Yeah.
uh, and work them up until they were really ready to go at 18. And did somebody suggest that you should go to Milano or to Paris when you were modeling here in New York? Or did you just decide to do it yourself?
Um, you know what? I don't really know. I think that I probably would have had an agent that introduced me. Well, you know that I would have because the agents introduce you to other agents and stuff
Right.
like that. But yeah, you know, you know a bit about me. I was always like kind of doing my own thing. So if you suggested it or not, it really didn't matter. I was going to do whatever I wanted to do. So yeah, my best agent that I had was Viva. I mean, I had a lot of great agents, don't get me wrong, but as far as
Viva in Paris.
yeah, kind of a management, kind of like the whole package was with Viva in France. So that was a really good decision, I think, from who was it that introduced me? Like I said, I don't remember. But yeah, that was a good opportunity.
Viva. Yep, I remember them. They were very good. And so you set out, you became one of the top models in the business, a supermodel. So you were right up there. Now, you took advantage and you've expanded. You know, you've not only modeled, but you're doing a lot of other things. You know, you're writing.
Yeah.
You've got something called the Feminine Collective,
Yes.
which is, tell us about that. And tell us, well, first of all, let's start with your book, Secrets and Lies.
Let me just answer just Omar. It was Wayne Mazer, Omar. Secrets and Lies. Well, that is that kind of, it's a poetry book that is pretty twisted. It's the kind of book that you want to have a couple glasses of wine in your system before you sit down and read. It's kind of like, it's like inner demons exposed with a slash of eroticism. So again, you've got to really be prepared for that one. And I did that one in 2018. But I have other books that I published with the Feminine Collective, some anthologies, and I put a book together called Love Notes from Humanity, which was an anthology of poetry from my various writers that benefited people with mental health issues. So I've done a lot of those things, and I ended up being the publisher of Shanti Patty Owen's Memoirs of a Legal Courtesan.
Right, I've read that book.
Yeah.
I remember Patty.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, she gave me the book. We were all out one night, and she said, "Oh, you've got to read my book."
Yeah.
And I did read it.
Yeah.
It was very good, very good. But they're very personal too, these books, you know. And if you're not in the business, I mean, when you're in the business, you really understand them, and they make a lot of sense. I think when you're a stranger, it's sort of, you know, it doesn't work. Now, I saw a question up there, and I know you were going to answer it. Who's the photographer that shot you for Vogue?
It was Wayne Mazer.
Wayne Mazer. All right, I remember him. He was in Carnegie Hall, I believe, at one point.
I don't know. It was an interesting photo shoot. Like I had, I had furry arms, like a lot of people have. I don't know. I have furry arms, and when I came in, they took one look at my arms. The next thing you know, I was sent off to a waxing place. So this was like from a kid that came in from literally like a small town who'd only been in Chicago for a few months, to be kind of in New York City at a waxing place, and then faced with Wayne Mazer again. It was pretty intense. One of the things that they asked me to do was to pretend like I was a lesbian with the other model, and I didn't know what a lesbian was. So literally, that's how green I, arrived. I was so green.
You mean they wanted you to be intimate with her?
Yeah, or at least have that vibe.
Like that you...
I don't know.
Like you had something going between you.
Yeah.
That theme, is still carried on. Now, let me ask, were you put into any awkward situations, which I'm sure you have, while you were modeling? I mean, there were photographers, there were makeup artists. I'm sure everybody was coming on to you because you were beautiful and you were smart and you were intelligent, and I'm sure people came on to you. How did you handle all that? Especially when you're 18, 19 years old and coming from a little town in Florida.
Joey, I got into a lot of trouble. How did I handle it? I usually was like, I don't know. How did I handle it? I did a lot of things. Let's say, well, I don't want to use the word. Let's just say a lot of those times it was kind of like very interesting, and a lot of those times it wasn't very interesting. So it would depend on who it was. But yeah, I mean, there was a lot of come-ons. When I look back now, when I think about it, now that we are in a politically correct stage, rightly so, by the way, I do believe that there were a lot of situations that I should not have been put in, right? A lot of situations that nobody should have been put in. And again, this would be under the guise of, coming on, or maybe, oh yeah, let's go out on a date or whatever. And, but a lot of them were work situations that weren't kosher.
Well, I think you girls were caught between a rock and a hard pile there. I mean, the key is if a photographer came on to you or an art director came on to you and you didn't really go with the flow,
Yeah.
as we say, you were afraid you may never work for them again. Or they'll pick somebody else. I mean, is that what went through your mind too? No. Oh, okay, good.
No, not me. But I mean, I defended myself pretty well. Like I had no problem using my foul mouth to kind of redress somebody. So I wasn't that much of a wallflower as far as like responding to the situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there was a lot of times, like there was a photographer I'll never forget who we were shooting in Los Angeles, and this was a photographer I worked with a lot and very well known. And he said, "Oh, Julie, come here, sit down next to me." And then he pulled out a packet of photographs, and they were all packets of his pictures of his penis, and then pictures of his girlfriend naked. And I'm sitting there going, "Why are you showing this to me?" Well, and it's kind of like, "No, you don't know. I'm not interested. Back off." But stuff like that would have gotten him arrested today.
Today, yes, today. I mean, well, today, even if you flirt, you can get arrested.
Yeah.
I worry about how when my son was single and my daughter was, how they ever met people, because, if a guy came on to my daughter, I mean, she could probably say, "Oh, he's harassing me."
Oh yeah.
Why is he doing that? Why did he touch my hair? Why did he touch my? You go to the doctor now, and the nurse says, or the doctor says, "I'm going to touch you. Is that all right?"
Yeah.
I mean, if that's not all right, what am I at the doctor for? You know what I'm saying?
No, this is true. True. It's very scary. Like we were mentioning before the show, even myself now, like for instance, giving somebody a hug, like, in a different word,
Yes.
giving somebody a hug. Hey, I mean, we hugged when we saw each other.
Yes, of course.
Now,
Because
like you said, it could be, wait a minute, that's inappropriate. So, but I am glad that I made it through pretty much the whole industry without being wildly scathed. Or maybe I have. Maybe I'm a mess and I don't know it. But I mean, those situations that I was put into, a lot of them.
Julie,
What?
you were never a mess. You were always a strong individual. I always looked at you and I said, now, there's a lady that knows what she wants and what she's doing. Of course, we all had our, little downs where we had our periods where we emotionally, it interfered with what we really are. But I'm sure you use them as much as I did to go forward stronger, to make me a stronger person. I always admire you for your strength, and your being outspoken too. You say exactly what's on your mind,
I know.
which I love about you,
Oh, thank
which is good. That's why you're a writer, and that's why you're able to do all these other things. Now, so modeling kicked you off, gave you the opportunity to pick up and write, and so tell me about now. What are you doing now? I know you've got the collective going. Where are you going to go with that, and what else are you doing? I see you on TikTok. I see you on lots of social media. We didn't have social media when we were in the business.
No.
Now it seems to be huge. How important is it? You should know, because that's what you're doing now.
Yeah.
So tell us about now and how you use social media.
Well, now if you don't have a social, well, I mean, when I started Feminine Collective, it was like not at the beginning of social media, but it was kind of, we were more, all of us were more Facebook centric at that time. That was still, Facebook was still the big cheese on the block. Facebook and Twitter, well, X, formerly known as Twitter. So I had to learn a lot about social media then. So if you did not have an account, it didn't matter who you were and what you were doing, if you did not have a social media account, you might as well not even exist. So as you know, and as everybody knows, it's just really exploded. It's really exploded. And now, like now I use it after my experience with Feminine Collective. I don't use it as much as I used to. I have kind of distanced myself a little bit in my personal life, just a little bit, as opposed to just putting myself completely out there because I find it exhausting. But my new, let's say my new main gig, my new, what I do for a living, I work on TikTok. So I am a TikTok influencer, and I work with an agency, and we are live 4 days a week. We're talking standing up for 8 hours, pitching my stuff, making new friends from around the world. I have fans that come in. In fact, there's a few of them right here that have made comment that have been visiting me here today, like Amanda and His Love Captivates. Thank you so much, girls, for coming in. So yeah, that's a different medium altogether. So it's great. So I'm out there, my person's out there, I'm live, you know, thousands of people see me every day. But then my personal TikTok is barely in existence. So I have that weird thing where it's like one side or the other. Do we need social media? Yes, we do. Is it a powerful tool? Yes, it is. Is it a scary tool? Absolutely. And now with AI, it's even worse. So I do recommend that everybody kind of keep a grain of salt with all of that stuff and try not to give so much of your personal life out there. Try not to there. I think to kind of protect yourself a little bit.
Yes.
That's just my opinion on that.
Because it seems now, if a model doesn't have a huge social media or a big following,
yeah.
They're not as interesting as somebody who has a huge following. And it seems like when they're casting, they'll say, how many followers do you have, you know? And if you don't have a few thousand or, you know, 500,000, you're really not what they feel in demand, you know?
But you know something, Joey, that's bullshit, because everybody accents their following by using certain platforms and whatnot to kind of build up their following. So it's just a matter of us being lazy and looking at it going, oh, okay, that person's got 1 million followers, I'm going to follow. How many of those followers are real? Now, in the beginning, you build up your profile, build up your follower count, and then it will grow exponentially from there, obviously. But it's a load of bullshit. It really is a load of bullshit. When they started doing that, when was that? That was with social media. I think I remember seeing that.
Late 2000s or 2010, 2012, like that?
A little bit earlier in the 2000s. I remember Germany and seeing it for the first time with their models, and then listing in how many people were you know, watching them, following them. I think it's so bizarre. I really do. Even though here I am on TikTok as a personality, I think it's really, really bizarre.
I understand that, because I remember when I was happened to be at an agency and I was talking to a few new kids, and one of the bookers or somebody who worked there on social media said, oh, by the end of the week, I'll have 10,000 followers for you. That they were going to, you know, promote it and invent these 10,000 followers, you know, or which is what you're saying now, you know. So I understand that. So, I mean, the business has changed a lot. But I see you're still modeling, though, because you're with major model managers here in New York.
Yes, I am. It's a bit tricky, though, because I do have my, you know, my TikTok life that I have to maintain. So it is a bit tricky for me to do a lot of the work now. But yes, I am very fortunate to be represented by Major. The team is fabulous. They have a lot of patience for me and my unyielding schedule. But yeah, I mean, it's nice to still be on the books.
Do you mean there's a lot of conflicts? Like if you're if you're hired to do a Macy's catalog or a
Yeah.
Bloomingdale's catalog, could it come in conflict with stuff that you're promoting on TikTok? And
Well, yeah, I mean, it can do. And I mean, in conflict in the sense that I have my schedule. I mean,
yeah,
have people that expect to see me from Wednesday to Saturday at a certain time. And literally, there are people that expect to see me. So it would have to be like a job that's really, let's say, either prestigious or lucrative. And that was one thing we haven't touched on. Lucrative. There is really nothing that's lucrative anymore about the industry. Let's face it. I mean, it's few and far in between. So for me to like tell my whole team that I can't come in on Wednesday, and then you have the audience that's missing you, and then you have the sales that you're missing,
yeah,
really has to be a big justification for that. Now, my team is very smart because they know that using my my fashion history and my fashion life and my fashion persona and even my writing persona helps build up my profile on TikTok. So it's not like they would turn around and say, no, thank you. But it's that balancing act. You know, it's the balancing act.
I got a question. I see it on the screen. I don't know if you're looking at the same thing, where she's asking about Instagram. Is that the new portfolio? Because you never see books, models carrying books. They're carrying tablets, or they tell you to go to Instagram. Is that where it's at these days? Look at my portfolio. It's on Instagram.
Well, our friend Omar asked that question. I mean, it's got to be Instagram. It really is. It's got to be the new portfolio. I mean, that's where, like a lot of these younger influencers, that's how they built up their clientele. It's all Instagram. It's all Instagram. Now that's another thing. When you are relying on Instagram and these platforms to bring you clients and stuff like that, you've got to be that person who constantly takes selfies. Oh, here I am.
Yeah.
I hate that. I can't do that. I'm like, oh my God. I mean, every so often I can pop one off, but for me, it's just horrifying. My crew at TikTok, they're like, you know, you've got to start doing more videos. You've got to start doing more of, you know, the life and times, you know, like you're waking up in the morning and there you are making breakfast. I'm sitting there thinking there's got to be nothing more boring for anybody to watch but me doing my thing.
Selfies.
You know? It's like, so I
I
don't know
tell you.
how to do it. I really don't know how these young people do it. Young people, I am an elder. You know, how the younger generation keeps themselves motivated to be picture perfect at all times. I have no idea.
They're constantly taking pictures of themselves, constantly. I
Mm-hmm.
know my daughter, I mean, she'll sit down. Every time we sit down for lunch, she'll take a selfie,
Yeah.
you know, and then she'll type out, I don't know who she's sending it to or who would be interested in
Yeah.
her having lunch with her father, you
Yeah.
know, but there she goes, you know. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm just, my girlfriends want to know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And the girlfriends
Yeah.
send a picture back,
Yeah.
you know, and it's back and
Yeah.
forth on the telephone with selfies and type, you know, oh, I'm having a boring time. My father just told me some, yeah, how could he say that?
Yeah.
How could my dad say that with a straight face, you know?
That's just,
Look, I'm still from the old school and I say a lot of things that my
you're a
young
joy. You're a legend.
kid, kids don't understand. But that's what I know, as I said before, I liked you because you always said what was on your mind, you know, and you're still doing it to today.
Yeah.
You're able to reinvent yourself, you know, with all the various projects that you've got going, you know, and there's not many people that can do that can come from one spot and really stay within the business and use it
Yeah.
and reinvent yourself to what you are today.
Yeah. No, it's, you know, it's funny because I was, what was it, last year? Before I joined Major, I was really kind of thinking that it didn't really, that I could just put the whole industry behind me in the sense that, like, you know, it's kind of a fight now. It's, a, you know, like we said, it's a fight to stand out. It's, the rates kind of suck. You have to be in this constant selfie mode. And I felt good. I felt really good for myself because I was kind of like, yes, I can release it, because for years I didn't think I would be able to release it. You know, we know all of us from the business, we do know our friends, certain friends that just have not been able to release, right? That was, and this is now kind of thing. So I think that I'm in a healthy place where I could say, you know what, no, thank you. But I'm also very grateful that I still do have a team like Major behind me to kind of keep my foot in the door, because, you know, in all honesty as well, it's kind of like if I do say goodbye to that whole world, then it's almost like a part of me is dead, right? So it's kind of like literally a catch-22. So yeah, but this has helped me do other things. It has helped me launch my, new careers. It has helped me meet new people. It has helped keep me young, I suppose. And it keeps me interested
Yeah.
interested. And if you're interested, then you're interesting, right?
Good. I like that. Yeah. If you're interested, you're interesting. Yeah, because you got something to say. And look, you've been through all the different eras of the modeling business, starting from, when you started, we did test shots and photographers test you, and you picked a picture and you threw out 2 pictures. You picked one picture and you threw out 5 pictures, and you built up a portfolio by testing with different photographers, different makeup artists, different stylists. And I don't know if they go through that today. First of all, photography, I believe, has it disappeared.
Yeah.
I mean, there are photographers, but we used to have the photographers. We knew all their names.
Yeah.
And they were all, made themselves famous or well known. And today, that's not the case.
No. It's all these selfies, all of these Instagram, upstart talents. That's why. I mean, let's face it, it killed the industry.
Yeah. And the same with the models.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to know every model, and there was a certain thing that I loved about this one, loved about that one, hated about this one.
Yeah.
Today, it's sort of, they all just...
Yeah. Who are they? I don't even know who anybody is. I really don't.
No, we used to know everybody. We used to know each other, even though we never represent. Like, I never represented you because of, I guess I turned you down, as Eileen said.
The biggest mistake you ever made in your life.
The biggest mistake I made. I've made a lot of big mistakes.
Oh, so have I. Let's face it, Joe.
And
okay.
I can't believe.
Would have had. Ooh.
What's that?
I said, could you imagine the run we would have had?
Oh my God! If we didn't make any mistakes, oh my God!
Yeah.
Listen, we all make mistakes, but we grow with those mistakes.
Yes.
But as I was saying, we all knew each other. I never represented you, but I knew who you were.
Yeah.
I knew what you did. I knew what type of work you did.
Yeah.
And now I don't think that happens. It's very impersonal.
Yeah. Okay, so you're right. We did know each other. And do you know what I feel from our time? And I'm so grateful for this. I feel from our time that like we were in a sorority, me and the girls. Like, it didn't matter where we came from. We're like sorority sisters.
Yes, you were sisters. Definitely.
Like, even when we were doing I Am Waters, and there I was, with Cheryl Teagues in the back of the car. I'm thinking to myself, Cheryl Teagues, oh my God, I'm sitting next to Cheryl Teagues. And then I'm going, wait a minute here. She's my sorority sister. We're like in this together, and that's what I loved. And then for you guys, it would be like the fraternity. And then, of course, it was just, I don't know, we went to the same college. We went to the same.
Sure. I Am Waters, we put all the different girls together from all different stages of the modeling business.
Yeah.
And it was fun because we had a good time. I had a good time.
Yeah.
And I know you were having a good time.
Yeah.
We'd all sit and have dinner, and we'd all drink together. We'd take the planes together. We'd get in a car together. We were, we were independent, but yet we depended on everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Because we lived off everybody.
That's how it used to be. It's like teamwork. And I don't know if there's teamwork anymore. I mean, there must be teamwork. Otherwise, these shoots wouldn't be, wouldn't.
What they are.
Yeah. But yeah, for us, I think from our era, it was really teamwork.
And we gossiped about everybody,
Yeah.
gossiped about different
Yeah.
clients and different photographers. I know I used to have to listen to everything. Oh, well, I hate this photographer.
Yeah.
I hate that art director. Oh, did you see this? And look at it, and I don't know if that goes on today. First of all, I hate the idea of agencies not having an agency. I
Yeah.
love being able to go into an office
Yeah.
and talk to people,
Yeah.
and find out what they're doing and let them look at me and say, oh my God, you cut your hair, or why did you cut your hair? You didn't tell us,
Yeah.
Why did you do this? You didn't tell us. Now
Yeah.
it's just a matter of sending pictures, send your picture, send your picture.
Which are all
You know,
pictured, and everybody's got a great ring light. And so, do you really?
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, and now you see all these videos of girls walking and guys walking, Oh, we're doing a show. Send me a picture for walking. And there you are walking down the corridor of your apartment,
Yeah.
with your boyfriend or your friend
Yeah.
videoing you, and you're sending it off, Whereas before, people looked at each other and
Yeah.
felt each other and said, you're here.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I could touch you. I could look at your pictures. I could talk to you, find out what you like, what you don't like. And that's not happening. That's not happening today.
No.
But
No.
Julie, you've come a long way, and I admire you because I still see you out there, and
Yeah.
you've taken yourself to new heights. I mean, you've really done a lot of different things. You're not only a survivor, you're a survivor, but you're more than a survivor because you're never going to get old in this business.
Ooh, thank you, Joe. You're so kind.
That's the truth.
That's the ring light, though, that's making you say that you're never going to get old in the business.
I've got a ring light too on my camera.
Ah, yeah.
It's funny. I did this podcast, and my cousin called me and said, Joe, you don't look good. I said, what do you mean I don't look good? She said, don't you have a ring light? I said, a ring light? I said, well, I remember that from photography studios where they had a big ring light. I said, no. She said, I'm going to send you one. So she sent me a little ring light that you put on the top of your iPhone.
That's so cute. I need to tell your cousin I need to set up at home. I do not have a setup for anything. So when I get these castings to self-tape and to do that, I'm horrified, like horrified. I've got maybe like one small little section in my apartment where I get a small sunbeam, and then it's like, oh my God. But yeah, everybody has all of this equipment now. You can almost do a job by not actually going into studio,
Yeah,
Like
of course.
Yeah.
We're going to send you a ring light.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sure you have one.
It's broken.
You don't? It's broken. I'll get you a ring light. That's for sure, Julie. I want you to look more beautiful than you are.
Oh, Joey, thank you. Thank you.
And so tell me, you've got a family. You've managed to work, bring up the kids, see that they're all successful, doing their own thing. You must be pretty proud to be able to juggle those things.
I'm so proud of my kids. So proud of my kids. I mean, this is an extremely unconventional lifestyle they grew up in. And I guess, unconventional personality that I've had and they had to contend with. But they've really blossomed into some amazing people. They all have grit. They have love. And our family is, again, there's a lot of dysfunction happening in the whole behind the scenes, but everybody's very close. Everybody's very close. That makes me really proud. We're all very close.
That is, which is nice. And your daughter is sort of in the business, a different part of the business,
she's
which is great. Where she's into beauty and hair and makeup. And my daughter was into fashion, so she went into the fashion end of it.
That's
So it was nice to see them, like I say, take after their dad or their mom, you know, and get involved in the business that we're involved in.
yeah.
You know, my son is in a completely different business.
What
He's
is
he's an investor. You know, he does he invests, and he does fairly well. He does pretty good. You know.
does he have any tips
So,
for us
any tips?
on crypto? No.
Crypto, I think we missed the crypto. If
Uh,
we didn't get in a long time ago,
yeah,
I think we missed it. It's too sky high now.
it's true.
But that was a good one, crypto. But you know, look, we were into a different thing then. I believe. You know, I sort of dabbled in that for a little while, but I got out too soon. You know.
Yeah.
But you you must be very happy in the place that you're at
Um,
because it shows in your face, Julie.
I'm extremely happy. I
It's
had to
good.
make major life adjustments, and the moment I did that, it was just like, I'm back. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think when we were in Texas, it wasn't a good period in your life
No.
because we were drinking a lot and uh, yeah, it was very strange, you know,
You think so?
and very
Yeah.
strained.
Yeah, you could say that again, big time. But yeah, everything changed. It was like being in a horror movie. I had quite a few years that it felt like I was in an absolute horror movie. I'd rather not get into that completely because it would involve a lot of, well, it would
But
hurt people's feelings. But yeah, I'm so glad that's over.
Julie, the key is you used the highs and the lows
Mm,
make you a better person and to use them for your benefit. You
yeah.
know, whether I'm crying one day,
Mm,
I'm going to use that the next day, you know,
yeah.
uh, to make myself a better person.
Yeah.
And if I'm happy, I'm going to use that, you know.
Mm,
Uh, we've got to use what God offers us or what we have going
mm,
and take advantage of it. I'm sure you feel the same way, you know. I've read some of the stuff that you know,
yeah.
write about, you know, and I believe me, you're a fabulous writer.
Really?
Yep, I love what you put
Thank
down on paper.
I have had a writer's block now since 2018. Can you believe it?
Wow.
Yeah, I have nothing to say. I mean, maybe I do have something to say, but because my life has gone really busy, I mean, when you're a model and that's what your main income is, you have downtime. You have a lot of downtime to be creative and stuff like that. And with my TikTok life, I don't have a lot of downtime. I mean, when I do have downtime, I'm completely dead. I'm not kidding. Because, you know, I have to emote, I've got to talk, I've got to be engaging, like, again, standing up for hours, keeping my energy level up really high. So, but anyway, I have had like a real drought with that. I have still been able to edit, and I still have amazing writers that come in, and they always say, "Oh, I'm so honored to be writing for your website." And I'm always kind of like secretly inside going, "They have no idea who I am."
Well, I always thought you were never at a loss for words. You
Oh,
always spoke your
yeah.
mind, and you always called a spade, you know. So I'm very happy that we got together
Yeah.
again. I mean, I just haven't seen you in so long, and you're looking great, and
Thank
I hope that we'll be able to talk. And we've got a few more projects that I think that you should be involved in.
you.
We're gonna start something called Era Timeless, which would be uh, a video book or on
A
models over
mag.
50 years old. Well, not only models over 50 years old, but people for guys and girls over 50
Mhm.
who have taken the business to different heights and have done different things, but who we all grew up with in our sorority or our fraternity of
Yeah.
friendship.
Now that sounds really fascinating. I like this idea that you have. I mean, obviously, well, not obviously for our viewers, but yeah, you kind of dropped it in my lap today, going, "What? This is what we're doing," and I love it. I love it. I think it's something that not only will our group of people enjoy, but I think other people will enjoy it, especially because we still have a lot of fans of the fashion industry. We still have a lot of fans out there that have that kind of desire for nostalgia. So that's one thing. And then we also have that whole phenomena, or the whole, it's not a phenomena, that whole thing where, oh, gee, I'm 50 years old, now my life's over. So,
Yeah, not true.
yeah, what do you do afterward? How did you find yourself for the afterward? What have you reinvented yourself into? Yeah, so that's
Well,
very.
that's why we asked you. I hope you're going to write for us, and I hope you're going to work with us on our new venture. Now, also, what I've got to say is that this is our last podcast until the new year.
Really?
Yep, you are the last one.
Oh,
We're closing for the holidays. We're going to do our Christmas
yeah.
shopping, and as you can see, I've got
You
my
look,
red scarf and red sweater on.
you know,
I'm ready.
red is the color of prosperity.
I hope so.
Yeah.
So this is our last one. Look forward to seeing you again in the new year. I'm sure you'll be back with us.
Yeah.
We're going to try to work out a different setup where we could all be sitting around a table exchanging views and things like that. I think we need it in our business. Yeah. And of course, you're very special, and I'd love to see you again. And you have a good holiday. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, or whatever you say. Happy holidays. I hope I'm politically correct. You know.
And if not, fine.
And I'm going to get off before I get myself into trouble. So thank you, Julie, and see you soon.
Yes, goodbye. Happy New Year.
Bye.